supporters. He wasn't willing to trade his principles just to hold on to power, and became visibly emotional as he paid tribute to his wife and children. New laws came into effect from April the 29th regarding regulations enforcing consumer protections against hacking and cyber attacks. These laws state that internet-connected smart devices meet minimum security standards by law. Manufacturers will be legally required to protect consumers from hackers and cybercriminals from accessing devices with internet or network connectivity, from smartphones to games consoles and connected fridges, as the UK becomes the first country in the world to introduce these laws. And now for African news. A dam collapsed in western Kenya on Monday the 29th of April, killing at least 40 people after a wall of water swept through houses and cut off a major road, police had said. The old Kijab Dam, located in the Mai Mahiua area of the Great Rift Valley region that is prone to flash floods, collapsed and water spilled downstream, carrying with it mud, rocks and uprooted trees. And that's the latest from Jambo Newsroom. I'm Andrew Baini.
Need security? Call Alpha One Plus Limited, a strategic security resourcing platform that connects you with licensed security personnel. We cater for our clients' security needs, from manned guarding, door supervision, event security, all the way up to close personal protection. Alpha One Plus Limited, your one-stop security solution. Call now at 44-074-2526-7909 or send us an email on info@alphaoneplus.com.
Established in 2006 as one of Glasgow's original mobile massage therapists, we deliver high-quality treatments with the ambition to forge permanent relations with clientele. We specialise in on-site massage, a type of treatment that has been specifically designed to complement the convenience and availability of massage at work. It is performed with the use of a specialist mobile chair, without the use of oils or the need to remove clothing. At Massage & Glow, we believe that massage should be a part of your everyday lifestyle. Regular massage not only relieves stress and tension, but also stimulates blood circulation, can help with pain management, and promotes good mental health. A must for your busy schedule. Various holistic therapies available. Contact us now on 07530 905 152 for your mobile massage therapist.
On your mobile phone and on all social media platforms. Jambo Radio.
Hello, and welcome to TouchPoint with Tayo on Jambo Radio, the show where everything matters. I am your host, Tayo Oweye, and you know, on Jambo Radio and on TouchPoint with Tayo, we explore vital issues concerning Africans and Africans in diaspora. We educate minds, and we also touch points on trendy issues. On today, on TouchPoint with Tayo, we are still continuing our discussion on crossing borders and the journey of an immigrant. Specifically today, we are looking at crossing borders, exploring the experiences of international students. And I have my guest joining me live in the Jambo Radio Scotland studio, right in the heart of Glasgow. He is Mr. Solomon Ajala, and we call him OlaSolomon. He is the Vice President, Glasgow School of Business and Society, GCU Student Association. He is a seasoned banker with over 8 years of cognate experience in retail, commercial, and private banking. And you know what? He holds a Master's of Science in Marketing. You're welcome, Mr. OlaSolomon.
Thank you for having me this evening. And it's such a lovely time to be here.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. It's so good to have you around. We're talking about crossing borders, the experiences of international students. And if you want to join us in this conversation, you can join us via our WhatsApp. Send a message onto our WhatsApp number, which is +44, which is the UK code 7518 6633. Let me repeat that again. It's +44 7518 6633. You can join us live, comment live, and watch us live on YouTube on Jambo Radio Scotland. Message us, and if you happen to be on Facebook, is on Jambo Radio Scotland. On X, which is commonly called Twitter, we are on @jamboradio.scot, and on Instagram we are @jamboradio.scotland. And if all of this, if you want to send an email, we have that available for you too at info@jamboradio.co.uk. Send us a comment. We'd like to hear from you on the issue of crossing borders, the experiences of international students. Mr. OlaSolomon, so good to have you in the house.
Same here. Thank you for having me this evening.
Let me start as usual from a statistical point of view. I read, and let me quote it, that the global number of students studying abroad continues to grow annually by 10%, nearing 5 million as at 2014. OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is an international organization that works to build better policies for better lives, predict that this population will hit 8 million in 2025 due to a demographic shift. Are we losing people locally, or we are gaining global improvement? Are there any benefits in even studying abroad?
Wow, such a lovely question. But so before I start, let me just quickly put this in perspective, so we're on the same page. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me this evening once again. So I'm the current vice president for Glasgow School of Business and Society, GCU Student Association, but I am not here this evening in that capacity. So that I would just like to set that in perspective. So going back to your question, I love the fact that the statistics is actually what it is. It's something everybody can see. There's nothing like saying we're trying to quote anything here. It is what it is. Now, if we are actually losing people locally or gaining in this other side of the divide, so the question answer itself, we're actually losing people locally. We are losing people locally, and it would actually continue, irrespective of how we look at it, whether losing people to the UK, losing people to Australia, losing people to the United States, losing people to Canada, it would actually continue.
The big four.
The big four. So it's not something anybody can do anything about it, because if you look at the reason why people are actually leaving, there's always a reason for people to want to just say, I'm leaving my comfort zone, I'm going to a good place, so to speak, in quotes. But the benefits of actually studying abroad, if I understand, is that the question?
Yeah.
So there are a whole lot of benefits. I came into the UK like over 2 years ago. You would actually see that we have, no doubt, the kind of best educational practices where I came from, but there's this urge, there's this need for you to want to do more. You want to explore more. You want to see more. You want to get to know more. You want to know how it is like out there. So there are a whole lot of benefits. You want a situation where you can actually contribute. You can bring in something fresh. You can, you just want to explore every opportunity for you to do well. So there are a whole lot of benefits that comes with studying abroad. I can say for free that currently in GCU, we have a whole lot of international students.
Wow.
Nigerians, Ghanaians, Pakistanis, Indians, everybody wants to come and explore that thing out there. If I had my way, probably I would have gone to an Oxford or a Cambridge.
Wow.
You know, growing up, So I remember in
the Ivy Leagues.
Yes, in the university, most of the lecturers that actually tutored me studied here. They came back home to let us know how it is like studying abroad. So I mean, everybody wants to experience it.
Well, we'll come back to studying here and going back home.
No problem. That's fine.
But looking at there are some other statistics that also made mention about like where people go to in terms of studying abroad. As of 2014, it was recorded about 4.3 million students all over the world study abroad. Wow. That means left their house, left their home country to study somewhere else. And as of that 2000, those top countries were Australia, United Kingdom, Switzerland, New Zealand, and Austria. A majority of those who are going all around were Asians, specifically from China, India, and Korea. But if we look at it, there was a particular statistics by Apply Board this year that looked at that despite COVID-19 challenges in 2020, 5.6 million international students studied abroad.
That's interesting.
And half of them studied in the Big Four that you mentioned earlier.
Wow.
Canada, Australia, UK, and US. And in 2023, 6.4 million students studied abroad.
Oh.
And the numbers are not decreasing.
Of course, I said it.
They are increasing.
It will keep increasing.
What are the factors getting people to leave their home countries to study abroad?
So it will still go back to what I said earlier. You know, sometimes you just want to explore. You want to see things for yourself. You want to think about what you can bring to the table, how you can actually add to what you already know. You know, so for me particularly, wanting to study abroad, because I actually decided to do my master's, I think about 9 or 10 years after having my BSc. Wow. And I've got a lot of friends who actually study abroad, and they've told me what it is like studying abroad compared to where I was coming from. So I wanted to have a feel of it. I wanted to add to myself. I wanted to do something differently. I've read online. I remember coming to the UK, I applied to close to 10 UK universities. And coincidentally, I got admission in all. But, you know, there's something that stood out for me, for them. I noticed the way things are done. And, you know, looking at international students, everybody wants to... It's just like you've been in a particular place for quite some time. So you want to go out there. You want to see something different. You want to do something. You want to explore. You want to do something differently. So in terms of are these just to do something different, or we've been hearing of japa. Oh,
people just want to leave.
Yeah, I was going to come to that, but I don't want to jump guns. I just wanted to stay within the confines of what you actually asked me. So from where I came from, Nigeria, there's the japa syndrome, no doubt. So an average Nigerian will tell you, I want to japa, in quotes. I want to just leave the country. So no doubt, a whole lot of people have interacted with a whole lot of students by the virtue of the position that I currently hold. Even before holding that particular position, I've interacted with a lot of students, and a higher percentage of them will just tell me, I'm fed up. I want to leave the country.
Wow.
Are you going to study, or you just want to leave the country? He said, well, I mean, does it matter? I just want to leave the country. If the only avenue for me to leave the country, the only easier avenue or the easiest avenue for me to leave the country is through study, then I can go. I don't care. I've got a lot of friends who before coming to the UK, have actually had PhDs. Some have had masters. So they've had to say, I just want to use this avenue to leave the country. So there's that part of the people that want to actually leave because it's an avenue for them to leave the country. And then there are a whole lot of students too, whom, like I said earlier, want to do something differently. They want to explore. They don't care about how it is there in the UK or in the US. They just want to go there, add some feathers to their crown or to their head, and then come back to their home country. So there's this balance within it, and that takes us to the first question: if we are losing people locally or we are gaining them here. So it's a two-way thing. We're actually losing people locally, but if you look at the numbers, we are losing vis-a-vis the one being gained here. At the end of the day, I would want to say this part of the world is actually gaining, because I mean, you can't imagine you're bringing your best brains, you're importing them into the country. If 100 students leave their home country to come into the UK or the US to study, I bet you maybe 10 or 15 would go back to home. Say, okay, yes, I want to go and do something back
out.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at expectations, how do international students perceive the quality of education? I mean, it may mean the straight answer: quality of education here and the one received back at home.
Okay, so quality of education, it depends on how we look at it. I know some students have had to struggle with the kind of education here. I struggled a bit too coming in, because the way things are done here are quite different from the way things are done back home. You know, the quality of education, no doubt, is good. It's top notch. I'm talking about what you get here.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that what we get home is not good. We only need to improve on a few things and do things differently. And that way, you can actually weigh up. I mean, if you look at the rankings of university, and if you ask yourself the question, can you actually see one of our universities in the top 100? Maybe one or two, or maybe not. That's not to say that we are not up there, but probably we just need to do one or two things. We just need to do a little more, and it will get us up there. But trust me, we have the good. We have good students. We have top students. We have good. I mean, you can see them all over the world, blazing the trail, doing so well. But the quality of education here is top notch. Trust me.
Yeah. Looking at the initial expectations before arriving in a new country, and how did they compare to reality of students' experiences? What were those things that could like shock?
A whole lot. You know, so I happen to have a whole lot of students at my fingertips, so I interact with students a lot. Even before some of them came here, we've had to put some people through, letting them know the realities on ground. Having come here, and we have actually seen what it is, so we try to make sure that we have a platform. We have had sessions upon sessions talking about stuffs like these. You know, coming into a new place, it's not just about you leaving Lagos to Abuja. You are leaving the shores of Nigeria for a country you probably know nothing about. So no matter how much you read about it, what you actually see on ground is totally different. So there's a culture shock. Surprised. What's happening here? How is it done here? You know, so the expectations are always high. Everybody, I just want to go. I want to go. I'm going to the UK. I'm going to the US. I'm going to Canada. I need to explore this. I need to do this. But I mean, once you get here and then you see the reality, everything changes, and then it becomes a different thing entirely.
Different ball again. Yeah, different ball entirely. The effect of studying abroad. Are there any effects? The experience of studying abroad, does it influence? How does that influence international students' personal growth and perspective on global issues? Are there any even changes to the perspective of the students?
Yes, there are a whole lot. The way you think changes, the way you do things changes. When you told me, or when you invited me for this talk, you gave me the time, and of course I know 7 is 7.
7 is 7.
7 is 7. Before I came into the UK, I used to be a banker, and normally you resume 8 o'clock. Sometimes you could actually come at 8:30. You could come earlier before then. There's this African time mentality. Thank you. So but a whole lot of things have actually changed. So you now begin to see that you have to keep to time. You know that the weather is not your friend. Things changes anyhow. You can actually just come out now. Everywhere is bright. Most especially a place like Glasgow, everywhere is bright, and you're going out, it begins to rain. So a whole lot of things changes. So globally, you begin to think international. You begin to think differently. You know that this is not status quo. Yeah. This is not how you used to do things where you were coming from. For example, quickly, when we came in, we started hearing about coursework. I mean, the place I stayed for the 2 weeks while I came in with my family, the young man was actually a student of GCU, and he told me, very soon you will start submitting coursework. I said, what is coursework? He said, no, you just have to, I said, are we not supposed to be writing exams?
Exactly.
Are we not supposed to, are we not supposed to be buying handouts? I said, no, there's nothing like that, So a whole lot of things. So I knew that I'm in for a long thing. So I needed to quickly just find a way to blend, adapt, and
there are some courses that all you do are assignments.
Yes, you keep doing them.
Assignments.
In fact, I remember that I came in January 18th, 2022, and by the first week of induction on the 24th, I had already started seeing messages coming in that you have this coursework to submit, and I was wondering, I've not even started lectures, what's the meaning of this? They kept coming in on the blackboard, a whole lot of things. So you just notice that the expectation is not what you actually meet on ground. So we try as much as possible to let people know this is it before you come in. These are the likely things in terms of jobs, in terms of opportunities out there. You need to put some of those mentalities aside, and you know that you're coming to a different place entirely.
How often do students go see their lecturers in their offices?
Oh, how often? Well, so one thing I know is that there's an open door policy here. Even though sometimes you need to let your module leader know beforehand that, okay, you would like to have a time with the module leader or something, but they are always open to welcoming you. There's no almighty lecturer, so to speak, this is untouchable. You can, sometimes you just see your lecturer, they greet you, hey, hello, and you're wondering, is this actually...
They're so free,
so free. They tell you, if you need anything, you can just ring me. I'm in your office. So it's even from the induction to the time you start your lectures, you are being incorporated into the whole system, and you begin to know exactly what is expected of you.
If we look at again in terms of the growth, in terms of the effects of studying abroad, I know getting into school, the timing and everything is all. What do you say about the structure of the lectures, experiences of lecture times, submission of your assignments, and every other thing?
Yeah, so that, to be honest, I give it to them. Like I said, from the beginning, when this is due, how many weeks your trimester is supposed to last, when your exam would be, when you're expected to submit a particular coursework. So you have your timetable spelled out for you. Everything's stocked in your calendar, so you can plan ahead. You know how things are done. You know what is expected of you per time. So they try as much as possible to make everything seamless.
If we look at some of the challenges that students took, things go seamless. Does that mean that you don't have challenges?
There are a whole lot of challenges.
What are those challenges?
A whole lot. So number one, I wouldn't say not discrimination. Discrimination is not the word, but it will take me back to culture shock.
Oh, okay.
You're just coming to an environment where you're not so sure what's expected of you. I mean, the way you do things in probably your home country, I've had to interact with Indians, I've told you with Pakistanis, and a whole lot. I mean, the way things are done are quite different.
Yeah.
So some of the challenges sometimes comes from the language. I mean, the way people speak sometimes.
Yeah.
At times, some find it hard to understand, but that's not to say that they will not try as much as possible to break it down for you. And the good thing is that you're not alone. So the class is actually comprised of different home students, a whole lot of international students. You have homegrown students, everybody all in the same class. So sometimes you have pre-recorded lectures you can watch. Sometimes you do live lectures where you can go back to the recordings. So some of these things help. Then one other thing is time management. You know, it's a bit of challenge for international students as well, because sometimes you're used to the normal way of, if I don't want to go to class, I can always get this and I get it done. Then you notice that it's actually different here. So you have to keep to time. You know, this is when you're expected to do this. And some of the challenges sometimes could be in terms of having to mix your work, job, you know, you're restricted. You're trying to pay your bills, you're trying to do a whole lot of things. How do you marry all these things together with studying? Then some of us, like myself, have parental responsibilities as well. You know, so a whole lot of challenges, and then you have to meet up with school.
Wow. We'll hold the thoughts right there, because we're still coming back to the issue of challenges. You made mention about parental, childcare, even work.
Yeah.
And because it's a whole lot. It's
Definitely.
a whole lot. It's a packed thing that we need to unpack if we have to take it trade by trade.
It's all right.
And so that we can be able to do so. Thank you, all our viewers, for sticking with us. We'll go for a break right now. And when we're back, we'll keep talking about crossing borders, the experiences of international students. We'll be back.
Jambo Radio. On your mobile phone and on all social media platforms. Jambo Radio.
Need security? Call Alpha One Plus Limited, a strategic security resourcing platform that connects you with licensed security personnel. We cater for our clients' security needs, from manned guarding, door supervision, event security, all the way up to close personal protection. Alpha One Plus Limited, your one-stop security solution. Call now at 44-074-2526-7909 or send us an email on info@alpha1plus.com.
Established in 2006 as one of Glasgow's original mobile massage therapists, we deliver high-quality treatments with the ambition to forge permanent relations with clientele. We specialise in on-site massage, a type of treatment that has been specifically designed to complement the convenience and availability of massage at work. It is performed with the use of a specialist mobile chair, without the use of oils or the need to remove clothing. At Massage and Glow, we believe that massage should be a part of your everyday lifestyle. Regular massage not only relieves stress and tension, but also stimulates blood circulation, can help with pain management, and promotes good mental health. A must for your busy schedule. Various holistic therapies available. Contact us now on 07530 905 152 for your mobile massage therapist.
On your mobile phone and on all social media platforms. Jambo Radio. On your mobile phone and on all social media platforms. Jambo Radio.
Ushawahi tamani kuwa mtangazaji wa redio? Hakuna shida. Umewahi kuwa na show yako redioni? Hakuna shida. Unataka kuwa na tabia ya vyombo vya habari? Hakuna shida. Je, ulitaka kuwa na sauti na maoni yako kusikilizwa na watazamaji? Hakuna shida. Una masuala unayodhani yanapaswa kuwa kwenye vyombo vya habari? Sawa, hakuna shida. Je, una wasiwasi kwamba hauna imani kuzungumza kwenye vyombo vya habari? Hakuna shida. Je, vyombo vya habari vinakuwakilisha maoni yako juu ya masuala yanayokuhusu binafsi? Hakuna shida. Jiunge Jambo Radio. Kwa kujitolea, utafunzwa, utaungwa mkono na nafasi ya kuwa na kipindi chako. Piga simu 0745 990 6822 ama tovuti ya www.jamboradio.co.uk.
Welcome back to Jambo Radio, and welcome back to TouchPoint with Tayo. I still have my guest in the house, live from the city of Glasgow, Mr. Solomon Ajala, the Vice President of the Glasgow School of Business and Society GCU Students Association, a seasoned banker of over 8 years of cognate experience in retail, commercial, and private banking. He has a Masters of Science in Marketing. And if you're just joining us, you can be part of this conversation via our WhatsApp message on +44 7518 476633. And if you are on YouTube, you can watch us live on YouTube and make your comments on Jambo Radio Scotland. Message us on our Facebook, Jambo Radio Scotland, on Twitter, which is now X, at jamboradio.scot, and on Instagram we are at jamboradio.scotland. And if you care to send an email, we are on, you can send your message on via info@jamboradio.co.uk. Send us your comments, ask your questions, and we hope to hear from you. We are still on the topic of crossing borders, exploring the experiences of international students. Let's see whether we have some chats and questions online. Yeah, Seminity Illuminate made mention about the weather in Glasgow, not your friend. A friend told me not to wait for Glasgow weather, as it does not warn before it changes. And there is also a saying in Glasgow that says, as changing as Glasgow weather. Talking about challenges, weather is one of them. Are there other that international students face in adapting to a new culture and the academic environment?
Yeah, so weather, there's nothing you can do about weather. It is what it is. So
Yeah.
You can't actually predict the weather. So I will not limit it to just Glasgow alone. I'll take it from the perspective of the UK. Is the same thing everywhere. So talking about challenges, so I was saying before we went on that short break that sometimes we have parental responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You have childcare. You have cost of living as well. You know, you come in, you're trying to make ends meet, most especially for students who come in September.
Yeah.
They hardly have that time. They don't really have the luxury of time that some of the students who came in January have. in between January and September start date, you have about 4 months for students who came in January to actually do full-time work. So some of them leverage on that opportunity to work full-time and be able to do a whole lot of things.
Okay.
As against the people who actually came in September. So they don't have that opportunity. And you are limited. You have that 20 hours. You have bills coming on you. You have a whole lot of taxes.
We'll say bills now, your friend.
I mean, do you understand? So like when I came in and the apartment I actually got, I got that apartment before coming from Nigeria, and luckily for me, the landlord was a Nigerian, so I stayed there for over 2 years before I moved out just last year, December. So some of those bills were taken care of by him. He incorporated it into my rent. But if you're not so lucky, the first challenge you would actually have is accommodation. And it's all over the UK. There's nothing you can do about it. So the government is trying all they can. Universities are trying all they can. They are getting funding here and there to ensure that life is a bit easier for students. But even at that, I mean, sometimes you have to go as far as, I know people who come from places like 2 hours to school just because they just need to get a place.
Yes.
But I mean, what can you do? The bills are so high. Even when you are able to get something, you want to share something with somebody, you end up meeting people who are not really so straightforward. Some people want to rip you off. So a whole lot of challenges, because some people believe that he's just coming in, let me get whatever I can get from him.
Extracts.
Then getting job is a big challenge for international students. So you're and the bills are not waiting before you know what is happening. The month has ended. I mean, it's not like where you're coming from. So this is part of the shocks. It's not like where you're coming from, where you have to pay your rent once a year. Here you have to pay it every month. And the landlord doesn't want to know. The direct debit is there knocking at your door. You just have to.
And that can have some effect.
It can have on your credit score. Your credit worthiness is being affected, and a whole lot of things. So you're finding it hard to get a job, you're finding it hard to get a place to stay, you're finding it hard with your children, you're finding it hard, I mean,
especially for us that don't like the word credit.
Yes, so I'll come to that. So I used to be a banker. I'm still a banker, even though I'm not working in the bank at the moment. But the truth is that when I came here, and then I realized credit is a good thing. Even if you are religious, that you don't want credit, somehow you need it. So because you need to be seen to be credit worthy.
Something we pray against, though.
No.
So it's not something you can pray. That's not going to be part of your prayer point here.
I recall 2 weeks ago we had a talk show in my church, and we talked about it. And I mean, it's a good thing, provided you're using it responsibly. Some they will tell you this is an unregulated credit. Use it responsibly. So because you have a 10,000 credit, I have friends that have 10,000 credit limits on their credit cards, 5,000, and then you think it's free money. It's not, because when you spend it, you have to return it. So but then some people actually found it a bit difficult having credit cards, So there are something you can actually fall back on. There are little things you can. These are little things you can actually fall back on, and those are some of the interesting thing about studying in this part of the world, because things like this you get them, and
even students can get credit cards.
Yes, I got my first credit card as a student. When I came in, maybe 2-3 months after into my studies, I got a credit card. It was actually given to me. I got my phone on a contract basis, So these are some of the things that were put in place, or that are actually in place to cushion that effect.
So to say,
benefits. To cushion the effects, you can actually, except when you're not using it responsibly, that is when it's now seen as a bad one. But I mean,
so the principle of responsibility
counts a lot.
Counts a lot there. Let's dive into some cultural issues.
All right.
What are the instances of cultural misunderstandings that international students face? Are these misunderstandings more particular to a particular race or color?
No. So I'll be talking from the point of view that I've been a student rep. I've been, even before I became a student rep, I've been a student facing person. A whole lot of students in my school can actually attest to that. I've done a whole lot with students, interfacing with students and all that. So it depends on how you see it. I have made people know that you don't see yourself as a third class citizen. Even though you are in the UK to study, you are in the US to study, you should actually see yourself as being equal. I mean, in your class, they don't separate home students, put them aside, put Indians aside, put Nigerians aside. Everybody's in the same class, taking the same lecture at the same time. So when you take that off you to let yourself know, you have to, it has to start from you, letting yourself know you are different. The challenges are there. Like I said, the language, sometimes, the food is one thing. I recall when I came in, I was looking for, I'll just give you a short a short story. So I was looking to get milk for my children. And we're used to the powdered milk and all that. I walked into M&M, everywhere I combed, everywhere I couldn't see. No powder. And then so I just asked one of the receptionists that I needed milk. And she took me to where the milk were. And I saw milk in liters and I was wondering, I'm not used to this. She said, this is the milk. It was really like, how do I cope? Are you sure I'm in the right place? But I needed to tell myself, well, I'm here. You just have to incorporate into that. And where I work at the moment, I recall when we're newly elected, we had to go to Avimore to do like a 5 days together with
more of a retreat.
Yes, more of a retreat. And then it was a time for us to share our cultures. Yeah. So I recall when we're going, the chief executive told us, if you want to bring things that are suited to your culture, you can bring them along. It will be an opportunity for us to have a taste of it. And guess what? We made jollof rice. We made jollof rice, Nigerian jollof rice.
Popular Nigerian jollof rice.
They actually ate, though it was a bit spicy for them. We like spicy things, pepper. So they were like, something like, no, it's a good thing. Yeah. And currently in my school in GCU, we have jollof rice being served at the canteen.
I noticed.
Yeah, so I mean, so some of these things you bring in your culture, they bring in their own. Like I don't eat most Scottish food, but by the virtue of the position that I hold, I mean, you hold meetings with your VCs, you are in a dinner, you're this. Yeah. You just have to get used to it. So I started getting used to it, and then they get used to our food too.
There was an article in 2013 that stated about the language skills deficit cost UK £48 billion a year. That's huge.
That's a whole lot of money.
How does language proficiency affect academic performances of international and their social interaction?
Well, if you're talking about language, first and foremost, if you're applying to study abroad, I'm sure whether in the UK or in the US, Canada, Australia, so let me talk particularly about UK. Okay. One of the requirements is for you to meet up with English proficiency. Yeah, and you can actually demonstrate that by giving them an evidence that you have written the IELTS, or maybe in places like Nigeria, your NECO results or your WAEC results, which actually showed that you have been tutored or you have been taught in English. Do you understand? So you would have actually passed through those stages. Now coming into the UK, and then you're seeing something different. I understand that some international students actually find it a bit difficult coping with when it comes to language, English specifically. But that's not to say they are not good. That's not to say they are not doing well. But what can you do? The primary means of communication is English. So if it costs them that huge amount of money, are they also telling us the amount of money they are raking in from international students? So sometimes you have to balance it. So if they actually look at it, if this has actually cost them that much, they should tell us how much they have been able to make from international students. So it's just a cost-benefit analysis thing. If it's not paying off, probably they would have stopped taking in international students.
So, but if we now look at it, what are the adjustments that international students need to do?
So, well, so I recall there was a time in school I met an Indian. She supposedly had a little issue, and it was just this language barrier thing too. So I was able to communicate with her. She said the results she submitted, unfortunately the school is saying it's really not up to standard. And then luckily the schools in the UK, they have they have a kind of English kind of classes they set aside even before you start your lectures. I understand some you might have to pay for just to bring you up to speed. So, I mean, language is not our first. English is not our first language, and you know. So sometimes it's just like the footballers as well. Yeah. You see people coming from Spain, playing in the English Premier League. Sometimes they learn, you know. Now, let alone somebody who was actually taught in English is just finding it a bit hard to go up to speed. So sometimes you just have to blend up. You have colleagues, you have you have classmates. You can actually weigh yourself up together and ensure that you do the right thing.
And let me touch point on this so we can also go to two other issues.
All right.
It has been said that a river that forgets its source
will dry up.
How do students maintain connections with their home country and culture while they're studying abroad?
Okay, so you know, we have different types of students.
Yeah.
And just like we said some actually came into the UK probably because of the Japa syndrome. I want to just leave my country.
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends who have told me UK is not my place. I can't wait to finish school. I'm going back home. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So balancing it, you just have to maintain that constant communication, because that being issue, you are expected to return back to your home country. Whatever you have learnt in the UK or whatever you have learnt abroad, you're supposed to translate it back and see the effect in your own country, probably in your economy. So balancing it, you have to keep touch with your home country. You've got parents, you've got siblings, you've got friends back in your home country.
Yeah.
I mean, the way you talk to them about the place you are currently matters a lot.
Yeah.
Fine, I know I'm gaining this, but I'm hoping to come back to put into practice, to put into use what I have learned, what I have been trained to do. You know, we have a whole lot of successful Nigerians all over the world who have studied abroad, who are back in their home country, that they are doing so well. It's just getting that part of the Western education. Okay, I've gotten this experience. This is how things are done. I need to go back home and do it. I have a friend who went back, I think last year. She went back last year.
Yeah.
She was doing fine before she came here. A whole lot of students are doing fine even before they came here.
Yeah.
So it's not about I just want to leave my home country. I'm running to the UK. I'm running to the US. Most people are willing to go back
home
and to do a whole lot of things, putting things in perspective and do things differently.
Yeah. They had support system coming back from home. If you look at support system as an international student, are there any support system around, and what role do international student support services play in enhancing the overall experience of studying abroad?
Okay, so I told you earlier that we have a lot of societies. We have Nigerian Student Society recognized by my own school. We have different WhatsApp groups. You have different Telegram groups where you have Nigerian students coming together. And the way you have Nigerian student groups, you also have Indian students. You have the GISA, you have the Pakistanis trying to help themselves. I know of a group called Mummies in Glasgow. So they are just, a group of responsible women coming together, trying to assist themselves. Because when you come here, there's nobody. My wife gave birth last month, September. My mother wasn't here. Our mom wasn't here. She has to do it alone with the assistance of a couple of friends. So if you think you can actually do it alone, this might not be the place for you. So you have to just keep touch. Yeah. You have to, you see your fellow Nigerian, you see somebody that looks like you. Not just Nigerians alone. I've seen a couple of Scottish, a couple of people who are actually nice. They are willing to assist you. So the summary of the whole thing is that don't forget where you came from. Everybody you see around that looks like you, in quotes, try to keep connections. If there's something that has worked for me and a whole lot of international students here, is that connection. Because the information you're looking for may just be at the tip finger of somebody next to you whom you have decided not to talk to.
Especially those people who we just pass across
You just
ourselves.
see them, some people, you see them, they just feel, we're all the same.
Yeah.
You should be able to embrace that culture of togetherness.
Yeah. So you can't do it like a state in Nigeria.
No.
Called, OYO.
I'm from that state. I'm from Oyo State anyway. So you can't be on your own, to be honest.
You can.
You just need everybody. You need everybody. People rallying together. This is a place where I've seen somebody give birth. We put ourselves together. Let's contribute together. Let's give something to this person. And it's always worth it.
Has it all been perfect for international? Are there other areas where students feel unsupported by the host country or the host institution?
Well, there may be, and it depends on how we look at it.
Yeah.
But one thing I know is that from every perspective, from every way we see it, or we think that they are not being supportive, one way or the other, they are still being supportive.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give you an example of some of the things we did as an association in GCU. So there was a time we came up with Winter Warmer campaign.
Yeah.
During winter, students are free to come to the student association, have a cup of tea, have have porridge, have snacks and all that, all for free. During the cost of living crisis, in fact, currently we have what we call the student pantry, where students can come, pick one or two things, So they have actually been supportive, though sometimes you may feel you are not being supported and all that, but generally I think they have been supportive.
Yeah. As we wrap up, Mr. OlaSolomon, the conversation continues on YouTube, but let me ask this. How do you envision your own future career paths? Do you see this international experience influencing your future career?
Yes, a whole lot. Trust me, I've always wanted to be a banker. I'm a banker. I'm still wanting to go back into the financial sector, whether here or in my home country. But the truth is, I have learned things differently.
Yeah.
I have seen a whole lot of changes. I've seen things that I can actually do differently. So talking about my own future career, I'm on the ladder already where I know that, and the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
The opportunities are there. But one thing you cannot play with or joke with is information. Information is very key.
Information is key.
Yeah, very, very key.
And it's king.
King.
Last word of the show. What advice would you give intending international students, new international students, or as we say back home, they stay lights?
Okay, so let me start with the intending ones. Know the reason why you want to study abroad. Be fully prepared financially, and most importantly, God leading you. It's a good one because when you come in, a whole lot of things can change so differently. And for couples who are intending to come, you need to stay as one, because I've seen a whole lot of marriages breaking up,
Wow.
just because of pressure. Sometimes you're not working, I'm the only one working, the bills are coming, I cannot cope.
That's another topic entirely that we're probably going to deal with.
In fact, I'll be glad to be a part of that panel. And for the people already here, know why you're here. Don't forget so soon why you're here. Don't forget about your career paths. The fact that you have a job that is paying you now does not mean you should forget about your career path. There's a whole lot of jobs out there, good jobs for you to jump at. I know sometimes it can be discouraging when you're applying for jobs. They are not forthcoming, but trust me, one day you will definitely get one.
Wow.
As I close, I recall sometimes you keep applying for jobs and you keep getting, it's not just forthcoming, and then one day you just get this one that says you have been invited for an interview. It's a whole lot. So I just want to encourage everyone hearing me online that don't get discouraged. Know the purpose why you're here, and you can always make it.
Don't get discouraged. Know the purpose why you are here,
and you can always make it.
The journey will be smooth one day.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon.
Thank
Ajala,
you for having me tonight.
Mr. OlaSolomon. Thank you for coming to TouchPoint with Tayo today. I really, really appreciate your coming. You've been so amazing. And as you have said, I'm going to invite you again.
No problem.
I'm going to touch point on the issue of marital and everything.
It's a very good, it's a very important point to talk about.
It's a huge one because we need to keep families intact.
Yes.
And even though we have moved from our countries, I would like to thank everyone that joined us online and those that will be joining us in terms of the conversation, because the conversation continues on every of our social media handles. Please make your comments, make your arguments. Let's continue encouraging ourselves. Let's continue this conversation on and on. Thank you for all our viewers today, and I want to thank specifically the TouchPoint team in the studio here. My producers Tosin Ogunade, T Crown, Mr. Baron, I call him Dr. B, the boss of the boss here, Mr. George Tar, and to my backroom family and researchers, my social media team, plenty of love to you guys. And that is it for us this week, ladies and gentlemen. And until next week, remember, life's journey unfolds uniquely. Run your race to attract grace, for it is only within the race that grace finds its way. I'm still your host, Tayo Oweye. Join me next week, the same time, 7 p.m. GMT, for another exciting and trendy issue. Until then, I wish you a happy night rest. Good night.
On all social media platforms, Jambo Radio.
Need security? Call Alpha One Plus Limited, a strategic security resourcing platform that connects you with licensed security personnel. We cater for our clients' security needs, from manned guarding, door supervision, event security, all the way up to close personal protection. Alpha One Plus Limited,